Hello and welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. This is Too Many Bones. We are on day number 5 actually, and we are in the latter points of that particular day. And in the last video we had an encounter which we successfully completed, and we actually gained ourselves the loot. We also gained ourselves 2 training points, of which I asked you guys to chime in on what I should do in order to buff up patches going into the next encounter. So I got more than enough feedback to move on, and we're going to jump into it just based on the general feedback I received. I'm going to move forward and we'll see what ends up happening. Now I'm thinking based on the comments I got back, and I want to first off thank everybody for chiming in with their opinions and thoughts and strategies, because to be honest, a lot of them are really good. And a lot of them are very sound as well. And I looked through them and I really like the idea of focusing on Patch's attack. I really think that's a smart choice, being that Patches is a very, well, because he's a healer, he's got that kind of already going for him in the fact that he can always heal himself for 1, plus he's got his med kit. So going for extra damage is probably the first thing we should try to do, as well as possibly bumping dex. Now, there seemed to be some comments that said essentially go for attack, and if you succeed at attack, we'll go for a dexterity in order to make use of that attack die, and I think that's fair and makes perfect sense as well. However, there was other suggestions to go for things like fast hands and go for bone saw. Remember everyone though that if we want to get bone saw, we have to have fast hands first, so that would mean we'd have to have both of those in order to get there. But I do like both of those dice, because fast hands allows you to add a multiplier to your poorly rolled med kits and things like that, whereas bone saw gives you a die which looks like this, an attack die that can actually give some serious damage to an opponent. Basically essentially adding another attack die just a little stronger than the norm, can get up into the level 3 in terms of damage, so very handy. However, I think, like you guys had mentioned, if we go for dex, we have the ability later in rounds to move around the map a lot. And I think that's really important for Patches, because being a solo character without any other gear locks in play, having him being able to move around the map and also not spend too many of his dice doing it is a good thing. So I think we probably should go for dex, but we won't go for dex first. We'll go for attack, and we'll see if we get the attack first. So how we're going to do this is we're going to roll for our success on the attack training first. So we're going to go ahead and take the base of 1 plus the 2. So we need to roll 3 attack dice, and we need to really hope for no bones here. If we get a bone, then we have failed. We don't get any rerolls on attack training. So that's where things can get kind of dicey. So let's see what happens. There we go, we're good. So it looks like we succeeded on the attack. So now we are up to 3, and because of this now, I'm gonna go ahead and bump my dex up as well. This is gonna give me lots of movement opportunity as well as lots of attack, making not only, actually the really positive to this is that when we start rolling these dice, I'm going to probably start mounting the bones up more often than not, and our backup plan will come into use a little more often than we've seen before. So I've got 3 attack dice in the tray right now. I'm going to add another one from the box here, just because we've now technically at the most maximum we can roll 4 attack dice, so we'll have that ready. I do also like the suggestions that said we should probably go after defense at some point, so maybe in another future encounter we can do something where we grab a skill and maybe a defense die. That would be a smart thing to go for. We also get rerolls when training defense, so we have a better chance of obtaining it. We got nice and lucky here, and we're able to get a higher attack without failing that training, so that's awesome. So thank you guys for your thoughts and all your comments on YouTube to tell me some good ideas in terms of what to do. I took that into account, and we'll move on. So we already gone ahead and done the rest of this card, so now we're going to take this 1 progress point, and this 1 progress point is actually going to make us, we're basically in Shale Fist at this point, because we have obtained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total progress, and that would be coming from the bottom left of each of these cards. We've already got a whole stack of them under here that we've achieved. However, you might notice that we've got 5 here, but because we were very smart early on, we picked one here right there that had a progress point for choosing this particular path in terms of the encounter. So we got an extra progress point here, giving us a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 progress. So at this point, we essentially, once we get past this next phase of day 5 here, because we still have one more phase to go before we talk about whether we encounter Drellen or not, and I've already got some comments saying that I should probably wait on that, and I agree 100% that we probably should continue with some basic encounters before we see Drellen yet. We bought ourselves some time, so I think we should use that. What we're going to do is we're going to roll into the recovery phase, because we just went ahead, we logged our progress, we got our training points, we did everything there has been covered. So we'll go ahead to our recovery, which allows us to do essentially our individual options. And I also got comments in YouTube in the comment section as well that also told me that it might be a good idea to potentially just heal Patches back up to full. Now, I'm debating on this, but it probably makes sense. I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, so 2 extra is all I could obtain because my total max health is 6. So this would get me to 6. That's not bad. The other thing I could think about is that Patches heals 1 on his turn, but usually in most of our battles, Patches doesn't usually start first. He usually seems to start in the middle, although depending on what monsters we get and when their initiative is, that could change. But if Patches was lucky and went first, he'd heal right off the bat. So that's kind of why I struggle with potentially healing Patches to start, but I also don't want to die. So it's probably a good idea to do that. Searching for better loot would cause me to discard one of my 2 loots, which I have in front of me. But to be totally honest, I really like this card for later when we fight Drellen. And this one here, I still, even though everyone's I can tell everyone's 50-50 on this, I guarantee you I'm in the same headspace. Stonehammer is... it's debatable. I really think we could discard that one and go searching for some better loot. But for now, I'm going to hold it because if we're going to go through a couple more encounters, let's say, hypothetically, we're on day 5 right now. We have up until day 10 before we have to beat Drellen based on this day right here. We still have some time. So I may end up going through maybe 2 or even 3 encounters before I want to go ahead and fight Drellen, or just test the waters and see if I can beat him, essentially. So I'm thinking I'll hold on to it, and we'll see. If I don't see maybe Trove Loot within 2 encounters, 2 encounters are probably what I'm going to do for sure. So if I don't see any Trove Loot within 2 encounters, then I'll probably ditch this thing. Because at that point, we'll be into our 7th day, and we're going to really, 7th or 8th day, and we're really going to need to start making pushes to go after Drellen, all right? So here we go. So we can go ahead now, and I'm going to just bump myself up. So that's my choice, is to rest Patches and get him ready. Thank you guys for your comments on that, because I know there was a few of you that said that we should do that as well. So now Patches is fully ready at 6 HP. So that's it. He's rested up, ready to go. And we can go ahead with the reference chart and just follow along the next thing to do, which is to bump up the day counter. So as I just did there, I bumped it to 6. So we are on 6. Our marker still stays here. So this is where things get interesting, because now this track doesn't matter so much. We are here. We'll always be here. We're always capable at this point in time right now. Even this turn, I could say I'm facing Drellen, and I could go ahead and pick up his card, and we could go ahead and try to take him down, but I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to encounter a regular encounter, so we'll go ahead with that and see how it goes. All right, so this one says, encounter a dire situation. My desire to sleep is clashing with my fear of being eaten by wolves. These torches only burn for so long. Must stay awake. How, I guess is what that's saying. Jolted from my involuntary slumber, my sleeping gear becomes a tornado of chaos as I scramble from under my blanket. A few dying embers flicker weakly in the expiring fire, giving just enough light to see nothing at all. I look up to find some moonlight through the trees, but my view of the night sky is suddenly eclipsed by the evil glow of 2 huge yellow eyes. As I slowly stand, my stomach turns as I realize I'm still only half the beast size at best. I desperately fumble through my belt for a weapon that's not there, and this dire wolf looks hungry. All right, so we've obviously we've obviously had a situation where we've gone to sleep, and it appears that a wolf has messed around with us here, or is coming in. And yep, that looks like what we got. So we got 2 choices here. One is I must find a weapon, and we have to build our baddie queue of a 1-point baddie and a 5-point wolf. or I must find my pack, we do the same thing. So the differences on this card come from the second portions right here. First one says, cannot use skill dice for the first 2 rounds of battle. Now, that's not so bad for us because we do have health. This would mean we can't use these 2 dice here. The one below it says, can only use skill dice for the first 2 rounds of battle. Interesting. So a little bit of a choice there in terms of what we want to do. And then we end up getting a progress, 2 more training points, and another loot. So not bad. So I guess the choice here is to go ahead and decide which of the 2 we want to go with. So, let's think about this. What do I want to do? If I use my skill dice, just so that we're aware, or just so I can remind myself here, this one's just straight for healing. Yes, it's probably possible within the first 2 rounds I'll probably get hit. So I'd probably like to use this right away. So being able to use these right away might be better. And because there's no real difference between the 2 in choice, I think I'm going to say can only use skill dice for the first 2 rounds of battle. That's what I'm going to say. That's my thought, at least. So, and now that we have the increase in dex, I think that's going to allow us to get those rolls in there safely. So I'm going to say that. So I'm going to say I must find my pack. That's what I'm going with, all right? So here's hoping that's a good decision, all right? So here we go. So we're going to go ahead. It says to build a baddie queue of a 1-point baddie and a 5-point baddie. Now, when you build your baddie queue, you always build from the highest points up. So when you get a situation like this where it says pick a 1, pick a 5, your 5 will be on top going into lane number 1, your 1 will be underneath. Now, this also says 5-point wolf. So now that's a bit more interesting because I think from what I'm understanding here, there's probably a wolf baddie in here somewhere that I have to find specifically in order to fight, and then I probably just reshuffle this stack. In order for it to thematically work, I just need to make sure I find an actual wolf. Let's see here. That is not a wolf. That is not a wolf. This is a wolf. Perfect. So here is our wolf. Okay, and I'll end up shuffling these 5-point baddies later because I just looked through the entire stack. So I'll shuffle that through later. But this one here is the wolf that we're going to be facing so you guys can get a good look at him. He is not a happy camper, and you can see from his eyes that he is very hungry and would love to have patches for dinner. So he has an ability here called Lashback for 2. We're very familiar with this from the previous videos. He's going to hit back for 2 on us when we hit him. He's also got a crazy amount of health at 6. So he'll be our number 1 baddie queue top. And then we're also going to get a 1 because we got a 5 and a 1. So technically it looks like this is our baddie queue. Essentially we know this is a wolf. That's why it's flipped up. So we'll go ahead and put them into our lane. So this one is going to end up in lane number 1. So we'll go ahead and take the lane number 1 marker, put it underneath. We're going to go ahead and grab 6 health for this wolf. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, because I just did. And it's striking a little bit of fear in my heart, a little bit, because I'm just looking at this guy's attack dice, and it's the one thing I didn't mention. It's a 4. So thank goodness we chose to go for our pack, because we're probably going to need this medkit and likely these toxins in the first roll just to take this guy down. He's going to be a pain. So he's a melee character, as it denotes by the little icon right there on the left with little swords. So he'll end up here in lane number 1. Done. He's also initiative 4, and because he's initiative 4, the 4 die is sitting in the initiative track at 4. Now we get to flip over number 1. We don't know what this is going to be, so let's see. We found a Goblin Bomber. Now we are familiar with these guys. We fought them before. He's going to be a ranged character, which is kind of painful, so he's going to be sitting in the back. But we also remember he's got things like Careless and Mischief. Now, Mischief is a pain for us. Mischief 1, this is one of those guys that can sit there and screw around with our active dice during the battle, making things a little bit more painful for us as we go. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put him in lane number 2. His initiative is a 5, so we'll flip this around till we find 5. There we go. And that puts him just ahead of the Dire Wolf. So now we've got him in here, and we're also going to put him up to 3 health. He doesn't have as much health as the Dire Wolf, but he's still going to be a little bit of a pain. And as you can see here, as the game goes on, the thickness of the health stacks start to go dramatically up. But I think this is a situation we should be able to handle, and I say that kind of doubting myself at the same time, because I'm not really too sure how badly this guy's going to hurt us. 4 attack dice and a lashback of 2 is a lot of damage. So I think these toxins are going to come in handy, really, really handy. So at this point now, we've gone ahead and we built the baddie queue. We've already established our baddies on the mat. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put Patches. We're going to roll Patches' initiative die to find out where he sits on this battle mat, or I should say the initiative meter. 3. Okay, so not so much a good roll this time, as he ends up being at the very end of the initiative meter. So that's not going to spell, like, it's not going to be a very positive start for him. Most likely he's going to have a lot of attack dice coming at him, so much so that he may be in serious trouble. Wow, this is going to be interesting. We'll have to see how this pans out, but this could be rough, because having an attack of 1 attack dice from range and 4 from melee is very, very harsh. Knowing that this guy can move 2 from anywhere, really, regardless of where I put Patches at this point in terms of him being a melee character, he has to hit at one of these 4 spots. There's nowhere in these 4 spots that this wolf can't get to. He will get to me regardless. So at this point, putting myself, I don't know. I think it just makes sense to probably be here, because at the end of the day, I'll likely just move to here. But the dire wolf will probably come here. If I start here, the dire wolf will likely come here and attack me. Then I'm really far away from both, which is not what I wanted. So really, you can see how the initiative really does have a major impact on how this fight will pan out. But hopefully, we can swing this and it won't go south quick. So I think that's pretty much it. I'll take a quick look here. So the card itself says I must find my pack. So your battle queue consists of a 5-point wolf and a 1-point character. We got those in play. Initiatives are set, and we can only use our skill dice for the first 2 rounds of battle, which we'll definitely be using because I'm going to need my medkit probably to keep Patches alive. So that is essentially it to start. Our round marker is set to 1, and we're ready to rock. So I think this is going to be the end of this episode right here, and then we're going to kick the things off in the next episode with our battle. So what I want you guys to do is comment in the video below, or below this video, I should say, and let me know maybe a strategy in your mind as to how you guys would tackle this. What things would you do? What would you use Dex to move certain places? Would you start in a different location? What would you do on your first attack? That type of thing. Now, the one thing we're not going to know, or you guys aren't going to know, is, and same for me, is what's going to really happen when these first 2 characters go in this round. Are they going to really hit us hard? I mean, for all we know, Patches could literally die before he even gets a chance to go, with how much attack dice is coming at him with a 4 and a 1. That's a lot of damage. So we'd have to get real lucky, not get some, and for them to roll some bones. I don't know if that'll happen, but that's kind of the joy of this game, is you don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, give me some comments below. If you like what you've seen, give me a thumbs up. For those of you that are following along the channel, this might be your first time checking out any of the games that I've been playing through and things like that. Let me know how I'm doing. Also, at the same time, if you've never subscribed to the channel, please jump in, because it's awesome to not only connect with you, but you become part of a bigger solo community here, where we're actually interacting with each other through the playthroughs, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm having a blast with you guys. So again, I'm leaving this up to you guys. Give me some feedback. Let me know what we should do before we go into this encounter in day number 6 of our adventure of Too Many Bones. Until the next time, guys, thanks for watching. My name's Adam Smith, and keep on rolling solo.